a cartoonist cartooning about a cartoonist. It's a pretty cool little mini comic. Let's go see. And hello everyone, it's Tom, it's FANZine Live, and we are today doing our classic zine. This is a zine put together by a gentleman out of the Boston area back in 1987 named Mick Cusimano. And Mick had a zine called Underground Surrealist Magazine. And we eventually will get to that, but I thought it would be fun to start with just a small piece of his. He was a really neat guy who I met through the Mass Press and lived in the Cambridge, Boston area. And one of the fun things of working and making creative material in a community like Boston as a high schooler, which I was at the time, is that you come across people who clearly are more creative than you, who clearly are better read than you, and who probably are more intelligent than you. But it's kind of fun just to roll along with it and see what they do. And I kind of always felt that way about Mick, and he's got a great little piece here. It is a Tale of Thomas Nast, the great American cartoonist. And this is, honest to God, a true story. 8-page mini comic. You can see that Mick wasn't super concerned about wasn't super concerned about layout, wasn't super concerned about construction of his zine. He just got it out there and told his story. And luckily he did his pages small enough so that he could have these wild borders and off-centered pages and the like, and it doesn't affect the story one bit. So we're going to take a look at it. The Tale of Thomas Nast by Mick Cusimano. It says, Thomas Nast would have secured a place in history by creating Uncle Sam, Santa Claus, the Democratic donkey, and the Republican elephant, which is all true, by the way. But his greatest achievement was his battle against Boss Tweed in the Tammany Hall corruption ring in New York City in 1871. And this is a reproduction that Cusimano did of a Nast cartoon. And this one was called Wholesale Robbery, as Tweed and a bunch of his buddies leave the New York City Treasury. Nast drew a cartoon every week for Harper's Weekly, using novel devices to expose graft and corruption. In this case, it's Tweed and his buddies preying on the bones of society, and it says, "Let us pray," P-R-E-Y. And they're a bunch of vultures. This cartoon caused such an uproar that the ring was swept from office and the members sent to prison. Notice the tiger. It says, "Tammany tigers loose. What are you going to do about it?" And it shows the tiger eating up someone called the law. And everybody's standing by and waiting to pass judgment. All except Boss Tweed, who fled to Spain. And it's got Tweed in Spain while there are rewards, no questions asked, Tammany Hall. And there's a Spanish guy kind of looking at Tweed. I'm not sure if that's an actual cartoon or not. It very likely could be. I know the other ones are. A peasant recognized Tweed from his poster, resulting in his arrest and extradition to America. So there he is. Whoops, not me. And of course it was him. Awaiting trial in prison, Tweed died a broken man. When Tweed's suitcase was opened, it was discovered that he had collected every cartoon that Nast did about him that led to his demise. That's pretty cool. Now, the things I like to talk about here are, first off, he did do replicas of Tweed cartoons. I know the first 3 are Tweed cartoons. I'm not sure about the back 4. But doing copies or replicas of famous works like this, especially stuff that's in the public domain, is really a fun exercise in and of itself. And it allows you to do some neat things. And Cusimano, from an art point of view, was really pretty good. Did a ton of hatching. There's nothing by way of toning on this. It's all line work. Did some stippling here. His figures are realistic enough. They are not hyper realistic, but they're realistic enough. And then I really love this. I mean, he does some nice establishing stuff, doing some Spanish backgrounds, as you can see. But I really like this one because he's got the noose kind of in the background, and Tweed deciding to die in prison, or I guess I don't know if he chose to die in prison, but he did. And then the light shining down through the stippling effect onto the cartoons. Very cool. Nice little mention of the mass press. We had that on all of our little member zines. I also see one here for the SPA, which I think is the Small Press Alliance, which was another co-op at the time, or collaborative. So pretty cool. The Tale of Thomas Nast by Mick Cusimano. Thanks everybody for watching. I'm so glad you joined us today. And we will be taking a look at more classic zines next week. But until then, or maybe just the next video, I will see you next time.